I'm videoing.
In the air, yeah, I feel it. You better believe it. When I low, yeah, we going high. Gotta climb to the top, but we're never gonna stop. When I low, yeah, we going high. We're going high. We're going high. Yeah, yeah. We're going high. Yeah, 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 yeah. In the air, yeah, I feel it. You
Alright guys, so today I'm going to do a little story video about everything that I got up on my wall here. It's just everything that sheds that I've picked up and kept, animals that I've killed and harvested, and just stuff that I'm proud of and that I like to display. So I guess I'll start with this one. So this is my 2018 archery deer. It's my first archery deer ever. This was the 7th day of the hunt. I'd been hunting 2 really big bucks and I was sitting a ground blind, and I had messed up an opportunity on those 2 bucks a couple times already in the hunt, and this buck had crossed through my blind every morning that I was there. I was at that blind 5 out of the 7 days of the hunt. And on the 7th day, I finally decided to take him. He came in at about 5:45, which is about 30 to 45 minutes before legal shooting light was that day. And he came in with 1 other smaller buck and 2 does. And the does were within 4 yards of the blind and started blowing at me. And at that point, I got really nervous and I was thinking, well, this is over, the hunt's over, they're gonna blow out of here. And the does never ended up blowing out. They stayed within 10 yards the whole time. But this buck eventually settled down enough, and I got to I think it was about 6:15 was the first time I ranged him. He was at 13 yards. I drew my bow back and there wasn't enough light for me to see through my pin, so I had to let my bow down. And I did this about 3 or 4 more times without being able to see my pins before I finally ranged him one last time at 23 yards, quartering away, and I made the shot. He ran a lot. He actually went a lot farther than I expected. The angle that he was at and everything, I got just liver and 1 lung. So it wasn't, by no means was I happy with that. I didn't want to have the buck run as much as he did or anything, but I mean, I guess that's archery hunting. It wasn't a bad shot. I'll post a picture. It came out right behind the shoulder, but it just went in a little farther back than what you want because he was quartered back so much. Well, he wasn't even quartering so much, but he was quartered away. I guess I'll go to this now. So this is my first set of sheds, and the story on him is actually kind of cool. The year before I shot that buck, I missed this buck. It was my first year archery hunting. I missed this buck at about 30 yards. I was shaking and I was nervous, and I ranged him, and I ranged the tree behind him for 40 yards, and I shot just a little bit behind it over him. I was pretty upset and devastated. It was my first archery hunt ever. It's kind of what got me hooked into the whole thing. But I found this set opening morning of the archery hunt that I shot this deer on. I found it opening morning, side by side. I'll put the ATL in the video. It's actually pretty cool. I was stalking in on the 2 big bucks that I wanted to shoot, and when I found those. And then this one is my first shed ever. Just a really, really good 4-point buck. He's got a cool waves, just a nice boxy buck. Got a pretty good burn on him. But It's an 82-inch horn, which is great. But I think I was 13 or 14. I found it right around my birthday, and I still don't know if it's, I'm sure that it's brown, I think, but I'm really curious because there's some cracks running through here already, and I found him either March 20th, 21st, or 22nd. I can't remember. It was right around my birthday, but he's still super brown and everything. He was laying in a sagebrush off the ground, just like that. That's how he was sitting, about that high, waist high. I just walked up and saw his burr. I was with my mom and my sister. It was my first shed ever. He was right on a fence line. He had jumped and lost it, but that one is one that I will never sell just because it's my first, and I don't know how you could ever get rid of your first. And then over here, I'll show you these ones. These are just, these two were given to me. This is one that I found while scouting. I was setting some trail cams and I found this one in the dirt. It actually looks like it would have been a really cool buck. It's broke here and it's broke here, and it's got a cool little, he actually probably would have been a cool buck if I found both sides, or found the full shed, not even both sides, just the full shed. And then I have this little chalk base. I keep everything that I find pretty much. I've never really sold horns that I've found. And then this is a pretty cool piece. So this is from my taxidermist that does all of my work. It's a wing bone turkey call, completely handmade base. This thing's pretty epic. He does all the art on it and everything. And I'm still not great at using it. I haven't really got it figured out, but you pretty much just put it on your lips like this, and you make like a kissy. I'm still not good at it. I gotta figure it out, but that's another one of my favorite pieces, actually. He makes a few of them every year and gives them out to friends and family, and he ended up giving that one to me. And then these are just pictures that I get from the expos and Zach Griffith and stuff. It's my baseball picture, my football team. But I guess we'll go to this right here. This is the first deer I ever watched get shot. I was like 8. My dad shot that buck. That was the first and only deer I ever seen get shot before I killed my first buck. This is a bird nest I found, but I'll do my first buck now. This was my second year deer hunting. I was 14 now, and everything on this buck was just completely, totally meant to be. He's 175 is what he ended up grossing. 150 net because this side is 20 inches smaller. But day before the hunt, we were at a gas station and we were looking through the truck, just making sure we had everything and everything was okay. And I spotted a split in the sidewall of the tires. So our game plan completely changed from hunting the highland, high country up in the mountain to hunting the sage flats around home. So we get up opening morning, truck doesn't start. We leave the house only at like 7 o'clock. It's already light, and we end up finding this buck at about 40 yards. Was the first time we saw him. I made the first shot at 40, and so anyways, the first shot was at 40 yards. He was quartering to, not hard, just looking up at us. And I shoot a little 22-250, so he took off, he went uphill, and I took 3 more shots at him, and I hit him at least 1 more time, but I think I hit him 2 more times, so I hit him 3 times total. And he took a nosedive into the sage. He probably only went 50 yards from where I first shot him. But that was my first buck I ever ever killed. This was 2016 I took him, I believe. But that buck means a lot to me, and I still know the exact place that I shot him. Every time I drive by it, I just think about that and how that all went down. That buck was really meant to be. But I'll put pictures of the day I killed him in. And this one right here, my 2019 archery antelope. I'm really extremely proud of this hunt. It took its toll on me, and a lot happened during this hunt. So 2019, I draw my limited entry antelope. I've been putting in for this hunt for 3 years with a rifle. I've been putting in for a rifle, and after I shot my archery buck, I gained some confidence, and I was really thinking, like, I can kill an animal with my bow now. So I switched units and I switched weapons to archery, and I drew it. So from that day on, I was totally focused on scouting for this buck. Well, not this buck, but for a buck. And it took me 10 days to get this buck, between school, football, and just having a long travel between school and home and trying to hunt. It took 10 days to get this buck. I had put down countless stalks on other bucks. I think in total I probably stalked within 100 yards of 20 to 30 other bucks, and I got within 60 of probably 5 other bucks. And I'd missed a couple shots on bucks that were bigger than this one. 100% they were bigger than this one. I'd missed shots on. The day that I shot this one, I missed a shot at 64, 65 yards on another buck. I just went right over him. And at that point, I was devastated. I was completely distraught and just torn down, and I was ready to go home. So I packed my stuff up and I'm leaving. And before I left, I decided we were gonna go check out one more spot, and we found this buck. It was about 7:50 when I shot him. He had ran in front of us, and we stopped and we made sure that it was something that we wanted to shoot. I range him 47 yards. I draw back and he starts to walk away, quartering away from us. So I let down, he stops, turns, and looks back at me. I draw back, put my 50 pin on him, and I drilled him. You could hear that double lung pop sound. It was just a great shot. So this is about 8 o'clock. We give him about 15 minutes before we go looking, because we were sure that he was dead. And the way that he had been shot, I don't know what it was. There wasn't much blood. There was one good spray about 5 yards from where we shot him, but after that it was dime, if that, size drops of blood. We ended up finding him. We had to go grab some more flashlights, and we grabbed my mom. She came. But he died about 200 yards away from where we had shot him, and it was a great shot. He'd been dead for a little bit. He was riggered up. So we found him 10:30, 11 o'clock. So it took us about 3 hours of blood trailing him. But we got him, obviously, and we got our pictures done and everything. But it was 10 days of hard, intense, grueling hunting. It was really something special, and it's a hunt I'll never forget. He ends up making Pope and Young. In March, I'll get the certificate and the book that has my name in it. But he goes 70.5 inches. I got him scored by a local guy here, Dallas Leo, and I'll post that up in here. But sorry, the mailman came. But Dallas Leo scored him 70.5. I'll put a picture of the official score sheet in here. But eventually we're going to get the certificate and everything, and I'll have it framed and hung up right there. I'll put in a couple pictures from this hunt, but
I'm videoing.
That hunt really tested me really on all levels. I mean, it was hot, it was hard hunting, it was cactus, sagebrush stuff, and it just put me through a test. And I'll always be proud of that hunt and what I did in that hunt and overcoming that hunt. And I mean, opening day, the day before opening day, we had a football game. I didn't get home until 2 o'clock. I was up at 4 o'clock. And I went deer hunting opening morning. Last year I had a couple tags. I had deer and everything. So, and they were all archery hunts. Opening day, I messed up a chance on a decent 4-point. I'll put a picture of him in here, but I messed up an opportunity on him at 45 yards. He went through an opening and I didn't feel comfortable taking that shot. So I waited, and him and the does ended up busting me, and the does stopped where I wanted them to, but he never did. So I didn't get a shot on him. And I hunted him and my #1 target buck really hard last year. I just couldn't seal the deal, and I spent 10 days hunting this one, so it was especially hard to seal the deal. The buck that I messed up on, he eventually ended up getting taken by a family friend of ours. So I'll put a picture of him of his kill in there. But last year was just a hard all-around hunt for me, between the mental and physical toll this took on me and not filling my other tags and the time constraints. It was rough, but I'm really proud that I pulled it through, and I can't wait for this year. I really think I've got my #1 buck locked down, and he's got my 100% undivided attention. That buck is going down this year. He's probably about 180 this year at the higher end, but he exploded from last year, and I think he's gonna explode again this year. I'll post pictures of him last year and this year.
Hey. Hey.
But he's a really cool buck, and it's awesome to have history with him. But that's it for now. The story video, I got everything on my wall, and hopefully in the next couple years I'll be adding on a lot more. Thanks for watching, guys.